The shuttle carrying Devon Hale entered the upper atmosphere of the Imperial capital world. The metal hull glowed orange as it cut through the sky. Outside the window, clouds parted slowly, revealing a planet covered in impossible cities. Devon tried to breathe slowly. He had interviewed dangerous people before. War heroes, smugglers, even a pirate queen once. But none of them ruled half the galaxy. The pilot glanced back at him. "Relax," she said. Devon forced a smile. "That's easy for you to say. You're not the historian about to interview the most powerful ruler alive." The pilot laughed. "The Emperor doesn't vaporize historians." Devon raised an eyebrow. "Usually." That word did not help. Below them, the capital city appeared. It looked like a dream built from steel and light. Towers stretched kilometers into the sky. Bridges of glowing energy connected them. Thousands of ships moved through the air like streams of silver fish. Above the city floated warships. Huge ones. Ships so large they could destroy entire continents. Each carried the same symbol. A silver crown pierced by a star. The symbol of Emperor Nerys. Devon checked the recorder in his jacket. His publisher had sounded far too excited when offering this assignment. "You'll be writing the official history of the greatest strategist in modern galactic history," the publisher had said. What he meant was, "Please survive." The shuttle landed on a platform attached to a crystal tower. Imperial guards waited. Their armor looked like mirrors. Devon stepped outside. He instantly felt underdressed. And underqualified for being alive here. A tall officer approached him. "Historian Devon Hale." "That's me," Devon said. "Follow me." Inside the tower, gravity shifted as they entered a transport corridor. Transparent walls revealed the entire city below. Starships passed overhead like silent whales. Devon tried not to stare like a tourist. After several minutes, they reached enormous metal doors. "The Emperor is inside," the officer said. Devon swallowed. "Of course she is." The doors opened silently. The chamber inside was vast. Floating projections of star systems filled the room. Hundreds of glowing planets hovered in the air, connected by lines of light that represented fleets and battle routes. At the center stood Emperor Nerys. She studied one of the star maps. For a moment she did not turn. Devon stared. The most feared ruler in the galaxy looked calm. Her uniform was dark and simple. Silver strands ran through her black hair. Her ears were long and slightly pointed. Clearly alien. Yet strangely familiar. When she finally turned, her eyes were sharp and intelligent. "So," she said, "you are the historian brave enough to write about me." Devon cleared his throat. "I prefer the word unemployed." For 2 seconds the room was silent. One of Nerys' eyebrows lifted. "That is an unusual introduction." "I rely heavily on honesty," Devon said. She studied him carefully, trying to decide something. Finally she gestured toward the floating star maps. "Very well, Historian Hale. Ask your questions." Devon opened his notebook. Then he looked at her properly. The words slipped out before he could stop them. "You're very beautiful." The room froze. Every guard turned their head. Someone near the door inhaled sharply. Devon immediately realized his mistake. "That was not one of my official questions," he said quickly. "That was an observational error." For a long moment, Emperor Nerys said nothing. Then something unexpected happened. She laughed. Not a small polite laugh. A real one. Bright and surprised. It echoed across the chamber. The Imperial guards stared. Devon stared. The conqueror of half the galaxy laughed like someone who had just heard the most ridiculous joke in the universe. Finally she wiped a tear from the corner of her eye. "That," she said, "is the first time in 27 years someone began an interview with a compliment." Devon shifted awkwardly. "In my defense, most historians do not interview people who command fleets large enough to block out suns." Her smile remained. "You are not afraid." "Oh, I'm terrified," Devon replied. "I'm simply trying not to look embarrassing in the historical record." The corner of her mouth lifted again. "Your honesty is unusual." I specialize in unusual. She gestured toward the stars around them. Then let us begin. The interview started slowly. Devon asked about famous battles, fleet movements, supply chains, political alliances. Nerys answered calmly. She walked between floating star systems while explaining her strategies. But Devon noticed something strange. Many of her victories were odd. How did you defeat 3 enemy fleets at the Orion Rings? He asked. They expected a direct battle, she said. So, I convinced them their navigation systems were malfunctioning. Devon blinked. You hacked their ships. No. What did you do? I sent correction messages. Devon stared. You won a war with customer service emails. The Emperor smiled slightly. Their commanders spent 6 hours recalibrating their systems. My fleet moved into position. Devon wrote quickly. Then he showed her his note. Never underestimate polite emails. She laughed again. The guards looked deeply confused. The interview continued. Hours passed. Eventually Nerys asked a question of her own. You are different from other historians. Devon leaned against the star map console. That's because most historians are serious people. And you are not. Oh, I'm serious, Devon said. Just not about the right things. She studied him carefully. You still have not explained your earlier statement. My observational error. Yes. Devon shrugged. I simply said what I saw. And what did you see? He hesitated. Then answered honestly. Someone who probably hasn't heard that in a very long time. The room grew quiet. For several seconds Nerys did not speak. Finally she turned toward a distant star projection. You are correct, she said softly. Devon didn't push the moment. Instead he asked another question. That system there. It shows a victory marker. Yes. What happened? The enemy surrendered after 8 minutes. Devon blinked. 8 minutes. My fleet arrived early. That seems unfair. They declared war. That still feels like a very short war. She turned back to him. Would you have preferred I waited? Devon shook his head. I'm just imagining the paperwork. For the 3rd time that day, the Conqueror of the Galaxy laughed. And for the first time in decades, the Imperial Court realized something unusual. The historian from Earth was not afraid of their emperor. And even stranger, she seemed to enjoy that. But neither of them realized something else yet. This interview would change the future of the entire empire. The next morning, Devon discovered that interviewing the ruler of half the galaxy came with unexpected complications. Breakfast. The palace dining hall was enormous. Diplomats, admirals, scientists, and dozens of alien species sat at floating tables. Devon stopped at the entrance. An attendant appeared beside him. Historian Hale. The Emperor requested you join her. At the far end of the hall, Nerys sat near a window overlooking the city. Sunlight covered the towers like gold. Devon approached. You invited me to breakfast, he said. I assume this means I survived yesterday. You survived, she replied calmly. Although several advisors recommended your exile. That seems extreme. They were concerned honesty might spread. Devon nodded. Yes, that is a dangerous disease. A tray floated down carrying glowing blue fruit. Devon stared at it. It's glowing. That is normal. He picked one up. If I start levitating, I'm blaming the kitchen. He took a bite. It tasted like citrus. Across the table, Nerys watched him. You adapt quickly. When you're eating breakfast with the most powerful woman in the galaxy, glowing fruit feels like a small problem. She leaned back slightly. You are not impressed by my victories. Oh, I'm impressed, Devon said. Just not in the way people usually are. And how do people usually react? Fear. Silence lingered for a moment. Outside, warships drifted across the sky. Fear is effective, Nerys said. So is kindness, Devon replied. That does not win wars. No, he said. But it might win something else. And what would that be? He gestured around the room. A conversation where no one is terrified. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she laughed again. Later that day she brought him somewhere unexpected. Her flagship. A warship the size of a city. Devon stepped onto the command bridge. Stars filled the windows. This ship could conquer a planet by parking on it, he said. That would damage the landing struts, Neri replied. The officers smiled quietly. Devon noticed something. None of them feared her. They respected her. But they were not afraid. You command all this? He asked. From wherever I stand. He watched the stars outside. You know something strange. What? Your archives record every battle. Yes. But your personal life is empty. That is not relevant to strategy. It's relevant to history, Devon said. Why? Because people are more interesting than victories. Silence spread across the bridge. Neri looked at him. You are writing about my campaigns. Devon shook his head. I'm writing about you. Days passed. The interview continued. Devon filled hundreds of pages. But something bothered him. One night he sat in the observation lounge staring at his tablet. I have a problem, he muttered. The door opened behind him. That does not surprise me, Neri said. He turned around. I finished the book. And you sound unhappy. Because I wrote 2 endings. She raised an eyebrow. That seems inefficient. Very. She stepped beside him and looked at the stars. What are the endings? Devon sighed. The first ending is what the Empire expects. And that is. You remain the unstoppable conqueror of the galaxy. That sounds accurate. Yes, Devon said. But boring. And the second ending? Devon turned the tablet toward her. In the second version, the conqueror becomes tired of everyone fearing her. That sounds unlikely. You already started, he said. When? The moment you laughed at a historian telling the truth. She looked at the stars outside the Empire. You believe the galaxy should see me differently. No, Devon said. I think they should see you accurately. He pointed toward the unknown stars beyond Imperial space. You once wanted to explore. That was long ago. The galaxy is still there. For the first time since they met. Neri looked uncertain. What would the Empire think? They would panic. That is not reassuring. Empires adapt, Devon said. She studied him. And what would the historian do? Devon smiled. I'd write the next book. She laughed again. You realize historians will blame you for political chaos. That will make an excellent chapter. She looked at the stars again. And something changed. For the first time in decades. The conqueror of half the galaxy was not thinking about new wars. She was thinking about unexplored worlds. Behind her, Devon saved the final chapter. He finally understood the ending. Not because the story was finished. But because the next one was about to begin. And somewhere beyond the borders of the Empire, the stars were waiting.